futility. But the kind of success which he was concerned about was the success that would glorify God.
Yes.
It was not a success that would attach significance to the man of Nehemiah. That's where we don't want to be praying for success. It's important that the work of God succeeds, as it will. Incidentally, you can always pray for that which God has promised. I will build my church, Jesus says, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it.
Amen.
That sounds pretty successful to me. Does that sound successful to you?
Yes.
Does that sound like absolute victory at the end of the day?
Yes.
That the earth will be filled with the glory of God
Yes.
as the waters cover the sea? Reaction, counteraction, and into action.
Amen.
He had a God-centered perspective that was going to manifest itself in quite a striking way. By Nehemiah being bold in his initiative thinking, he would spring into action. Chapter is one day in April, 4 months later. That's my paraphrase of it. He had buying his time when the door would open with opportunity, and then he would be ready to enter. And we see that he did that in verse 1, taking his wine in the normal routine. Here's your wine, king. But he had not been sad in his presence before. So the king asked me, why does your face when you are not ill? This could be nothing but sadness of heart. I was very much afraid. Very perceptive, of course. The king needed to be perceptive as well, because any indication like that on the part of the cupbearer may tip him the nod that he was going down with him. So he would learn to read his eyes. He would want a very happy cupbearer for every occasion that he was bearing the cup. Any idea that he was squeamish might say that deep down he was covering something up. It could give away that maybe your enemies had gotten to him. I was very much afraid. I love the phrase of verse 2, that I was very much afraid. I love how realistic and honest it is. This may be one of the most encouraging parts to the story of Nehemiah. Usually when we read stories like Nehemiah or others, I immediately say to myself, wow, this guy or this girl is so brave and so in touch and so close with God, and I am just removed from all of that. He was praying and fasting for 120 days. I could barely go 120 minutes without food or in prayer. When he says, I was so much afraid, I said, oh, I could relate to that. I could identify with that. Nehemiah's ordinariness comes out as any good leader's ordinariness must come out. I was very much afraid. Nehemiah recognizes his opportunity and he springs into action. He talks the king into allowing him to return and rebuild the walls and the gates. And not only that, he gets the king to give him letters for safe passage and letters to obtain timber for building. And he even gives him an army to assist in protecting him as he makes his travels back to the city.
Praise the Lord.
And when he gets there, he rebuilds it in 52 days, just as he promised. How many times are you and I faced with the opportunity, or with an opportunity here that we feel afraid, we feel overcome, we feel we may be scorned, we feel maybe the cost is too high, that it can't be done, that there are giants in the land? Nehemiah discovered that God is able to do exceedingly abundant beyond all that we can ask for or imagine. It was a pipe dream that he would get to go back. It was a mystery that he would ever be able to make an impact. He would have been lucky as it was if he would have been able to travel back on his own. But we see him advancing and putting together all the bits and pieces. The difference many times, how we handle opportunity, is different than how Nehemiah handled it. It's simply this, that Nehemiah had no doubt about who does what. It is God who gives the task. It is God who gives the growth. It is God who gives the glory. Nehemiah simply had a heart for God and for people. He loved both so much that he saw it through. What is in your heart these days? What are we doing? Keeping the doors open? Doing church? Fulfilling established routines? Is there anything of vision that our elders catch from us? Is there any sense of forging a trail? I think where it lacks in my life is, first, I don't react properly. Who will weep? Which one of us will weep for the state of the church? It's easy to stand up and point fingers at this person and that person, or this thing and that thing. But in the private place, where is your heart? And then the counteraction. Oh God, will you leave the heavens and come down? Will you do in our day what you have done in another day? Will you fashion in our churches young boys and young girls brought up within the framework of godly instruction and stir in their hearts in ways they can't fully understand, so that they might rise up in their day with a fire in their bellies concerning the message of God. A desire to follow the Bible in all its fullness. Will you surprise us, oh God, if all that we do in our generation is keep our feet in the door for another generation to come in? Will you make us prepared to just live with that? So that if we see no dramatic fulfillment of the vision, if we see nothing, if we are nothing other than faithful to that which you have made known to us, that we would keep our heads when others cannot. That we would endure hardship when people bail out and take soft options. That we would be serious about the work of evangelism. That we would spring into action in our Christian lives. In all the conviction that I can't, but God can. Many of us are suffering from the illusion that we can. It's only when we face the fact that we can't that we can.
Amen.
It's that delicious paradox, isn't it? The man with the withered hand who could not stretch it out. And Jesus asked him to do what he couldn't do, and he did it. Because his word not only is life-giving, but it is life-changing word.
Amen.
And what did Jesus say? Apart from me, you can do nothing.
Nothing.
He didn't say our need was partial. He said our need was total. To the degree that I believe my need is partial, I will not react as Nehemiah reacted. I will not counter-respond as he responded. And I will not be able to go into action where he went into action. Apart from God, we can do nothing. Amen. But with God, we can do all. Amen? Amen. Amen. Let's have a word of prayer. Oh, God, we come before you this morning. We don't react the way that we should react, Father.
Yes.
As just members of your family, of children of you, God, we react so poorly. Our prayer is just not what it needs to be. We don't pray, Father. We just speak words.
Yes.
But God, I just pray this morning that through this message, just through your example of Nehemiah, that we, as just simple, everyday people, can learn to do what you have asked us to do, and to realize that we can't do it without you, that we are nothing without you, and that just change our hearts for that, Father. Give us the strength this week and the coming days to just further your kingdom, to walk in a way that just resembles Christ. Just be with these people here this morning, that the message will touch their heart in ways in which only you can do, Father. We love you. We thank you. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Well, the invitation is simply this morning, that you would come to realize that without God you can't do anything, but with him we can do all. And that so many times that we don't react right, that there There's so many examples in Scripture of how to react toward everything that comes at us in this world. And I just pray this morning and ask that if you need help in reacting, if you need help in praying, if you need help in your life, that you just come to the foot of the cross and ask for it, and God will give it to you.
Draw me close to you. Never let me roam. I lay it all down again to hear you say that I'm your friend. You are my desire. No one else will do, 'cause nothing else could take your place. To feel the warmth of your embrace, help me find a way, bring me back to you. Draw me close to you. Never let me go. Lay it all down again to hear you say that I'm your friend. You are my desire. Find a way, bring me back.